Alright guys, so I'm running to Chevrolet dealership to pick up a new throttle cable for this Pontiac. Now, mind you, the cooling fans still don't work. I still haven't changed the oil. I did the thermostat last night, and as you can see, the temp gauge is sitting right where it needs to sit without the cooling fans even working. I've been driving for about 20 minutes now. The Chevrolet garage is right around 30 minutes away from me. As you can see, I'm driving down the road. Trying to do this without getting a ticket. Cops see a cell phone, they automatically think that you're doing something you shouldn't be, which you are. I guess, breaking the law right now. But we're going to make this video quick. I just wanted to do a quick update. I've been running around 40 to 50 miles an hour because we're stuck in front of or behind a semi, if you saw that. But yeah, the temp gauge has stayed right in the center. This morning when I got up, I checked the reservoir, made sure everything was full before we even started this journey, just in case, you know, one of the hoses had cracked or something like that along the way when we were putting everything together last night and taking it apart. Because this is a 2003, I'm sure all of those hoses are factory, so they've never been changed. They're what, 16 years old now. So we're getting a new throttle cable today for it. Don't know if I'll put it on. The only reason I ordered one was because the one that's on it has a bad spot in it. The actual housing's split, which is allowing moisture into the cable, and the cable's metal, so obviously it's going to rust inside there and eventually either break, fray out, or just stick, and I won't be able to stop. And I don't feel like getting dead today, so we're gonna do what we can do to make this car as functional as possible for as cheap as possible, like I said. So with that being said, we're on our way to the Chevrolet garage to get the throttle cable we need, and then I'll cut the video back on. Alright guys, so we've made it to the Chevrolet garage. Still, temperature's right where it needs to be. There's a vehicle for sale right there. Anyway, so yeah, I'm gonna go in here and get this part, and then we'll turn the video back on. Got the fans working. I wonder if you can pick that up. Alright, so I ran a switch right there. It's hidden. You can't even see it. I like it that way. The wires for the fan come in through the firewall right down here, run up into the inside fuse panel, up into this little cubby at the top, so there is no interference with the lower part, and I don't have a switch in my dash that isn't supposed to be there. As you can hear, the fans are working. They are running. We did wire this up to a relay, like I said we were going to do, just so. Also, the positive that runs from the battery for that switch is on a fusible link. So let me kick those fans off. The positive is on a fusible link, so if it tries to short out and catch fire again, it'll blow the fuse right here and kill the power to the entire system. It won't continue any further. But if we pull all these wires out, here's the relay that we have everything wired into. So this is the correct way to incorrectly wire something. It's incorrectly correct. So with all that being said, the wiring's done. We're going to start on the oil change. I did drive this car about an hour away today. It didn't overheat because we were moving. The reason it gets hot right now is because it doesn't circulate any air under the hood when you're not moving. The purpose of those fans are to circulate the air when the car isn't moving. Excuse me, got the hiccups. To circulate the air while the car isn't moving, to keep it cool at an idle. So now that that's working, we have no heating issue at all, or overheating issue at all anymore. It's slowly coming together. As soon as I change the oil, we'll reset that change oil light in the dash, and this car will be done with everything that I'm going to do to it. Now that we can see that little bleeder a little bit better since it's still daylight, that is what, brass or copper or something. It's a very soft metal of some kind, whether it's brass, copper, I'm not sure. But that guy, if you break it off, you have to replace all of this. You can't just buy that. I don't know why they don't just sell that, because of what it's made out of. Those are going to break if you're not careful. So we'll get the car jacked up. The oil filter is right down here under the manifold. Let me grab my flashlight. It's starting to get dark. It's not dark yet, but it's getting. Alright guys, so I found my flashlight. You see that little orange and black piece down there? That is the oil filter. That's what we're going to be changing. We're going to jack up the car and get all of it taken care of. So I'm going to pause the video, get the car jacked up, and I'll bring you with me underneath of it so you can see where the drain plug is, and we'll see what the accessibility of that oil filter from underneath looks like. Alright, so now we're going to drain the oil. This nut right here is the oil drain plug. I've already cracked it loose. It's a 15 millimeter, so we'll get it pulled out of there. You want to hold back pressure on it as much as you can until you feel that it's completely out of the threads, so that way you can pull it out and keep yourself oil free for the most part. So the oil is draining out of it now. We'll let that drain for a little while, and then we'll come back to it here directly. One thing to note, since this is a front wheel drive car, don't mix up your oil pan and your transmission pan, because you definitely don't want to change your transmission fluid if you're trying to change your oil. So just be mindful of what you're doing while you're doing it, and you should be okay. Now the accessibility to that oil filter from down here is next to impossible. Like it's definitely going to be easier to get to from up top. So that's how we're going to get that out of there. And I'll show you how we get that out here in just a minute. Hit the pause button. Alright, so we got the old oil filter out. We got our new one right here. What we want to do is just match them up, make sure they're the same. This one, I was actually looking at this one when I bought this one. This is the old oil filter. This is the cheaper end. I went ahead and spent $5 more for a quote-unquote high mileage oil filter. You can get about 20,000 miles. We're obviously not gonna run this oil filter for 20,000 miles. Still yet, I mean, it's at the end of the day, it's still a pretty cheap oil filter. I think it was $15. Grab some paper towels, because you can keep yourself from getting oily, getting the drain plug out of your oil pan, but it's very hard to keep yourself from getting dirty changing the filter, just because of the angle that it's at, and you've got your arm up in there. As soon as you get it broke loose enough that this seal isn't making contact with your engine block anymore, you start leaking oil, even though the filter's not all the way out, and even though you already pulled your oil drain plug out. There's still residual oil in the top end of the engine, which causes it to leak. Plus, your filter is always full of oil as well. So, got some Pennzoil 5W30, which is what this car calls for. One thing I like to do, because of the angle of this oil filter, I'm not going to be able to fill it all the way up, probably about halfway, and then put it back in there, because it sits almost at a 90-degree angle sideways. So it's going to make it very difficult to fill it all the way up, turn it sideways, and get it in there without spilling a bunch of oil. So what I'm going to do is fill it up about halfway, get it put down in there, and get it threaded in. I'm very cautious whenever I do things like this. Like after we changed the thermostat last night, every time I went anywhere, I had a gallon of antifreeze with me everywhere I went, just because you don't know and you want to be as prepared as possible. So all the oil that we don't use, I'm just going to put in the trunk of this car, and it is also going to go everywhere I go, just to be sure that if we have any leaks that I don't know about, because I've only had this car for 6 days now. From underneath you can't see any oil leaks. I don't see any oil leaks from above, so I don't think the car leaks oil, but who's to say it's not burning it? So we'll go ahead and get this drain plug in it, get the oil filter in it, then we'll start putting the oil in it, and make sure it's at its recommended level, and then we'll start the car up, run it for a minute. That way the oil cycles through the engine, and then we'll check it again, make sure we're still where we need to be. And then we've got the oil filter on. I put about a quart in it, and the way I like to do it is put about a quart in it and then get under it and make sure we don't have any leaks. Those oil spots are because whenever I took the oil filter out, it dribbled down the side of the oil catch pan just a little bit. As soon as I get the oil changed, I'll back the car up and get that cleaned up, but I don't see any leaks anywhere, so we'll go ahead and put some more oil in it and keep right on trucking. So I'm going to hand the phone over to my assistant here, little B, and he's going to finish up this video for me. Alright, so now we're just going to finish filling up the engine with oil. Alright, so we put about 2.5 quarts roughly in it. I just want to check and see where we are on the dipstick. So we'll clean that off really good. Alright, so as you can see, the oil dipstick is good and clean. Dip it down in there and see if we're even showing on it yet. Yeah, we're not even showing yet, so definitely need more oil. That's gonna smell great. oil straight onto the manifold. It's starting to get dark, so it's getting a little hard to see. And I really wanted to get this car buttoned up and done today because I go back to work tomorrow. So if I wanted to get this car on the road running and driving so that I could start using it to get back and forth to work, this weekend was the weekend to do it. So alright, so we're starting to read on the bottom end of the dipstick. We'll let that oil finish draining down into the pan so that we can get an accurate reading on where we are and how much more we need to put in. That's a fresh spot there, but that is probably because I spilled it. So we'll check it again. Alright, B, come close. So we're on the add oil line now. So we're going to add some oil. I'm glad to have gotten this car done in the amount of time that I had to do it in. I only had 4 days to get this car done. Alright, so we are now in the almost dead center. It was at the very top line there. So I'm going to put it back there. One thing that I did forget to do though is take the car off the jack. So that's what we're going to do now, because that will give you an inaccurate reading because the engine is angled backwards. Alright, so we got the jack out from under it. We'll let it settle for a second and we'll check it again before we put any more oil in it. Bentley is gonna start making some appearances in my videos. He likes YouTube. He wants to be a YouTuber. So it's only fair that we do it together, right? Have a father-son project. Alright, so we'll clean off this dipstick. See, it's good and clean. Run it down in there. We'll take a look at it. Alright, so by dropping the jack, actually raised up to just under that third dot there. So we'll go ahead and add just a little bit more to it and it should be good. It should be done. Not only in those 4 days that I was off did I have to get this car done, but I also had to do some work to the Jeep Wrangler. The ABS light was on. It is, oh, quick update on that. It is currently off. The ABS light did go out, so those sensors did take care of it. Like I said, whenever I hooked it up, I'll grab my code reader so you guys see what I'm talking about. When I hooked it up to the computer, it was throwing a code for the front passenger ABS sensor. But I figured, you know, since I was going to be in there replacing sensors anyway, I might as well replace all 4 of them. It cost me $80 for all 4 sensors, which sucks, but it's not terrible. It is what it is there. I didn't want to just replace one sensor and then a week, a month, a day down the road have to replace another one. So if you're already going to be in there doing it, why not do it all? So that's what I did, and the light is currently out on it. And then I wanted to get those headlights put in it because I have a hard time seeing at night, and with the lights that were in it, it was terrible. I was hammering potholes all the time because I couldn't see them until I was on top of them. Alright, let's clean it off so we get a good reading on it. Alright guys, we are dead on that top line there. So oil change is complete, fans do work, thermostat has been changed, wheel bearings have been put in, front end alignment has been done. There's a few other little things on this car that I need to fix, like I want to get a new hood, I want to get a new passenger side fender. I did pull that dent out enough so that the door will open, but the door still catches on the fender, and it's slowly pushing that dent back into it. Eventually I'll have to get in there and pull that dent out again, just because it's constantly, every time we open that door, constantly pushing that dent back in. So that is going to conclude the 2003 Pontiac Grand AM $400 buy budget build for now. The other little things that are wrong with this car is that nothing in the passenger door works. You can't roll the window down, you can't lock or unlock the door. The passenger mirror is also electric. It doesn't work. So the fact that none of the electrical works on that side leads me to believe that something's just unplugged. It's not getting a connection. I don't think that the window motor's bad, because it's very hard to have everything go out all at one time. Like your window motor, your lock actuator, and your mirror motor are not all going to go out at the exact same time. There's either a blown fuse somewhere, it's unplugged, the connection is broken somewhere, whether it's a wire or the actual quick connect is broken somewhere. So that'll be a video for another day. We might get into that this weekend, but it's his birthday party this weekend. Happy birthday! So we might have a video on the channel for his birthday. Mason, how old are you gonna be, dude?
6.
You gonna be 6? Yeah, buddy. Big 6. So the reason I want to replace this hood is because of that giant dent right here. I would like to find a Ram Air hood, because right now the way the Ram Air works, it comes in through here and forces the air into the breather box that way. Let's run around here. Let me grab my flashlight, and I'll show you that dent in the fender. So here's the dent in the fender. It was much, much worse than this when I got the car. Like I said, it was dented in to the point where it wouldn't even let you open the door. Also, it's dented up here, and the hood actually hits right there, and it's creased up where whenever they wrecked it into whatever they wrecked it into, push the fender in, and then as soon as they open the hood, they crease this corner. Or at least that's my assumption anyway on what happened there. But yeah, that's going to conclude the Pontiac Grand AM series for now. Everything functions like it's supposed to function. Everything does what it's supposed to do. So I'm just going to drive it for a little while, and if we have time this weekend, we'll take that door panel off and see what's in there, start pulling some fuses, see if we can't find the issue with that door. Alright guys, thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe.
Bye. Bye.